Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to talk something about operator overloading. So if you have already learned some programming language like Java, you already might know what operator overloading is, but for the students who don't know what operator overloading is, operator overloading is something which allows you to overload a particular operator like a plus operator, which is used for addition, the minus operator, which is used for subtraction. And what operator overloading allows you to do is that it allows you to perform other operations with the addition operation or the subtraction operation. So for example, right now you could actually use the addition operation to basically add up two numbers. But in case of operator overloading, we could make the addition operation, which is this plus sign right here, do something else apart from adding up two numbers. So instead of adding up two numbers, the plus sign is now going to perform the operation which we tell it to perform. So we are going to learn how to exactly do that in this tutorial right here. So the very first thing which we need to do is that we need to define a class. So for the sake of this tutorial, let's create a simple program which basically adds coordinates of two places. So if you talk about the XY coordinates of places, you have a separate value for a particular point. So one particular point may be 2,3 and the other point may be 10,9. So we are going to learn how to overload the plus operator so that we could add up coordinate points in our Python code. So without wasting any time, let's directly jump into the lecture. So the very first thing which we need to do is that we need to create a class. So let me just type in class and here, and let's name this class as point. So once we have this class, the first thing which we do is that we define the attributes of this class right here. So in order to do that, we type def and then we use the init function. And to this init function right here, we pass in the coordinates as x and y because the coordinates of any point are expressed in terms of x and y. So once you have these coordinates, you are good to go. Now the next thing which you need to do is that you need to type in self.x equals x and self.y equals y, just so as to initialize these things. And now the next thing which you need to do, so this was pretty much the normal stuff which we do with each and every class, but now the next thing which we do is that we perform the operator overloading. So as in this case, we want to perform the overloading on the addition operation. We are going to type in def double underscore, and here we use the add function, which is actually predefined one. So what this allows you to do is that it basically allows you to perform the operator overloading on the addition operation. So if you were to perform the operator overloading on subtraction operation, then you could have simply typed in sub right over here. So in this case, as we are performing this on add, let's type in add, and this function is actually going to have two parameters, which is self and other. Now here what we want to do is that we basically want to add in these two things, which is nothing but x and y. So to basically perform the addition of x, that is x of one object with the x of other object, you simply need to type in x equals self.x, which is nothing but the first object, plus other.x, which is nothing but the other object. And we do the same thing with the y as well. So we type y equals self.y plus other.y. And finally, when we have the values of x and y, we simply return the result by typing in return point, and we want to return the point in the form of x comma y. So what this code essentially does is that it actually overloads the addition operation or the addition operator, so that now we could use the addition operator to perform addition of two coordinate points in the form of x and y. So once we have this thing with us, the next thing which we need to do is that we actually need to go ahead and format the result. So in order to format the result, we type def and we use the inbuilt function which is called as str. And here we simply need to type in return. And if you have already gone through the lecture of string formatting which is present in this course, then we have learned how to format strings. So you simply need to have double quotes here and here we need to specify the format in brackets. So in a curly bracket you have the first parameter, give a comma, and then have the second parameter right here, and then to basically format it, to pass arguments we type format over here, and to this we pass in self.x comma self.y. So once you have these three things in place, you are pretty much good to go. So now the only thing which you need to do is that you need to create the object of this class right here. So let's say we create the first object as point1. So we type point1 equals point, and let's say the first point has coordinates 1, 4. That is nothing but the value of x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 4 for the first point in the 2D coordinate. And let's assume that they are the 2D coordinates of a point, and let's say the point 2 is going to be equal to point with coordinates, let's say 2, 8. So let me just pass in 2 and 8 over here. So now once we have these two coordinates, now the only thing which we need to do is that we need to add point 1 with point 2 and print out the result. So we type print point 1, use the plus sign, and then type in point 2. So now the plus operator right here is actually going to get overloaded, and instead of performing the normal addition operation, what it is going to do is that it is going to actually perform the code which we have written right over here. So if we save the code and if we actually run it, as you could see, we have the value as 3, 12, that is x of the first object added with the x of the next object, that is nothing but 3, and y of the first object added with the y of the second object, which is equal to 12. So we have successfully overloaded the plus operator right here, and this is all about operator overloading, and this is actually how you perform operator overloading in Python. So the only thing which you need to remember is that whenever you want to overload a particular operator, you need to use the predefined function by providing double underscore sign right before the function name. So in this case, as we wanted to overload the addition operator, we have actually used the pre-built or inbuilt function add right over here, and in this you actually need to type in the code to define in which manner you want to overload the operator and what should be the function of the overloaded operator. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Thank you.